Trita, we're hearing words like constructive, friendly, and positive, and it sounds like the two sides have agreed to meet again. By all counts, not a bad start.
I think, frankly, that this was the best possible start they could have achieved. The talks were not going on for that long, but already after 2.5 hours, there was enough confidence built and progress made on the parameters of the talks so that the Iranians agreed to meet with Witkoff directly, which then enabled Trump to say that he had achieved direct negotiations. And to be completely frank, this has gone further than what Biden managed to do in 4 years, in which the Iranians never agreed to fully and directly talk to the American negotiators at this high level.
So in terms of substance, though, what does each side hope to achieve here? I mean, you and I both know for the Iranians, lifting of those crippling sanctions that have caused so many hardships for the people of Iran is a big issue. And for the Americans, Iran's nuclear program is a big one.
A big question mark that I think is starting to get clarified is whether Trump is sincere when he says that his only red line is a nuclear weapon, and that means that he's agreeing to limitations to Iran's program that obviously would have to be inspected and verified, or whether he will ultimately adopt the Israeli position, which is a complete dismantlement of the nuclear program. Of course, the Israelis have put forward that position, knowing very well the Iranians will never accept it, because the Israelis are putting forward demands designed to cause the negotiations to collapse in order to be able to move forward with a military option instead. But so far, Trump has resisted adopting the Israeli position. And if these talks go well, I suspect that he will be quite happy with an agreement that limits the Iranian program, that heavily inspects it. It will still be very challenging, though, because Iran's nuclear program has advanced significantly as a result of Trump walking out of the previous deal.
Well, it's interesting that you say Trump, is not completely on board with the Israeli position, but he continues to make threats about some kind of military confrontation if there's no deal with Iran. In fact, he recently said, if there is some kind of military action, and I'm quoting here, Israel will obviously be very much involved. What do you make of that?
I think there's a lot of theatrics that come along with anything that Trump tries to do diplomatically. We have seen that in other scenarios, including with Ukraine, and certainly when it came to his negotiations with North Korea. I think to a certain extent, the Iranians are taking this very seriously. They're preparing themselves militarily in case it leads to that. But on the other hand, I think they also understand that a lot of this is theatrics. A lot of it is something that he feels that he needs to do, whether it's for domestic reasons or other reasons. But the most important thing is the positive messages that have been sent by both sides. If you look back to what happened during the Biden era, the Biden presidency felt that it was extremely costly for them to even say something remotely positive about the talks, about what they would like to achieve. Whereas Trump feels very comfortable going out saying that he wants Iran to be a great country and very successful. Biden would never utter those type of words. And I think the Iranians are paying attention more to the upside of these negotiations, of what they are being offered, because it's far more than what they were being offered under the Biden administration.
Yeah, I mean, you make a really good point there, but I'm just wondering if the Iranians can ever trust someone like Donald Trump, who imposed those crippling sanctions and places so-called maximum pressure campaign on Iran and reimpose them just days after taking office for his second term.
Absolutely, and the Iranians are going to have to struggle to figure out how they can make a deal that they have enough confidence of its sustainability. I don't think trust really comes into the equation, in the sense that neither side is ultimately going to base this agreement on the trust they have in each other. But they can have trust in the mechanisms that are put in place. They can have trust in the political realities that both sides face that will limit or reduce the likelihood of either side breaking out. The reality is, however, both sides are going to be much worse off if they don't have a deal. And as a result, they will simply have to muster the political will to get to a deal, even though trust is going to be on short supply on both sides.
And Trita, if, according to plan, the two sides meet again next weekend, what will you be looking for?
I will be looking primarily to see how fastest actually goes towards a technical negotiation, which will be a clear sign that they're looking at verification and limitations rather than the Israeli position. I will also be closely looking at to whether the agenda is limited to the nuclear issue or whether it actually will expand to other issues. I personally believe that it would be a mistake to expand it too far because neither side has a lot of time here. And it took 2 to 3 years to get the first deal. They're trying to get this deal within 60 days. That almost necessitates that the agenda is kept very limited.
All right, we'll leave it there. Trita Parsi, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me.